This is my second and more in-depth review of the 2014 film Ninja Turtles. Of course, I reviewed this film. I did a short review last year, and I said I would do a longer, in-depth review when I actually bought the movie on DVD. This is the second movie I bought after Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the second movie I got for Christmas. And just like Guardians of the Galaxy, this was surprisingly, and this movie especially, this was surprisingly one of my all-time favorite films of 2014. And now, after watching it several more times, is one of my all-time favorite film. Is one of my all-time favorite films of all time. So, um, once again, I'm going to start off with the brief history, how I discovered this film, of course. I've been waiting for this film for a long time. Ever since it was announced that the Ninja Turtles film franchise would be rebooted, I've been initially excited for this film. I've actually been waiting for this film even longer. I've been waiting for this film ever since TMNT. I've been waiting for what was supposed to be the reboot, which became this, or the sequel to TMNT 2007. I've been waiting for either one for a long time. I just wanted another Ninja Turtles film. When I heard that Michael Bay would be directing the Ninja Turtles film, I was initially excited because he brought the Transformers to life, so really bring the turtles back to screen. They've already been brought to life before. He can bring the turtles back to the big screen. Then of course I actually got pissed off at Michael Bay. When I heard the changes he was making to the turtles, such as I remember something about the turtles, the April O'Neil, April O'Neil, April O'Neil and Vernon being more important than the turtles, having more screen time than the turtles, not enough screen time for Casey Jones, Shredder being white, and just when I was looking at the production stages, this film just did not look good. And so I was sort of biased towards the film. I was ready to come when entering 2014. I was ready to bash the hell out of this film. I love to rant. I love to talk trash. I love to get on here and whine about how things are not the way I want them to be. I love to do that, and I was ready to do that with this film. That was until I saw John Campia's AMC movie theater, where they show these badass character designs you see on the cover right here, the turtles. I was like, well, at least the film looks good, along with all the other problems I saw. Then, of course, finally, the first trailer released, and the turtles look good, but everything's in the trailer just looked terrible. The foot looked like Yakuza, looked like military Yakuza men. It was all serious with William Fichtner's character talking like Batman Begins, which I do not want to see. It was all serious. Then, of course, I watched more TV spots where they show more action and more comical turtle moments, which is what I want to see. More comedy and more action. And then, of course, I saw the awesome music video from Wiz Khalifa, Juicy J, and I think his name is Ty Dollar Sign, something like that. I saw the awesome Shell Shock music video where they showed even more action. And this made me want to see the film even more. Then finally, when the film released, the critics, as I expected, were to hate it. The critics didn't like the original films. Then I see everybody else criticizing the film, and I at least this is where my expectations for the film kind of drop. That was until it was announced that the potential sequel for this film would include Casey Jones, Bebop and Rocksteady, and Crane and Dimension X in the sequel. So with hearing that news, I at least wanted this film to be decent, at least be something good to look at. It doesn't have to be the best film of 2014. Just be good. Just don't be terrible. Paid the ticket, went there. From the opening credits all the way to the end, this film was awesome. This film totally exceeded my expectations for this film. Everything I had a problem with in this film was addressed or corrected, was either corrected or addressed for why it had to be like that. The foot soldiers being Yakuza men, the foot soldiers being Yakuza soldiermen, yes, that makes more sense. In today's society, we use guns. We use guns, and that's actually more realistic than people running around fighting with swords. Martial arts and weaponry is cool, but a bullet is still a bullet, which brings to my next problem I had. I didn't mention this earlier. The turtles being bulletproof, which I saw in the TV spots. I had a problem with that. I had a problem with that. If they're superheroes, why do they have to sneak around? Well, they didn't. Well, first off, they explained it as the turtles. They didn't know they were super. They didn't know they were like superhuman. Then the mutation, them being mutated at birth, mutated at birth, explains why they're superhuman. And of course, like I said, they didn't know they were like bulletproof. They didn't know they were bulletproof. And if the in the old films, since the turtles weren't bulletproof, why doesn't no one have a gun in that film? Why doesn't no one have a gun in those films? Everybody in those films wants to fight with martial arts, even though the turtles can do it better. So that was the other. That was one problem that was corrected. April O'Neil, Megan Fox being April O'Neil. Like I said, I love Megan Fox as April O'Neil. Acting wise, she wasn't as good as the actors Paige Turco and Judith Hogg from the previous films, but she was still good. She was still good, and she didn't have to be the best actor in the world. The writing of her character, for the most part, was. Um, Will Arnett was awesome as Vernon, and see the difference between Megan Fox here and in Transformers. In Transformers, there is no Michaela, so no one cares. Shia LaBeouf's character Sam Witwicky. There's a Sam Witwicky who is Spike Witwicky in the cartoon, so I don't mind this series being focused on him. But in the Transformers, you have Megan Fox and all this human nonsense over the Transformers. Here you have a character like you have a character April O'Neil who's actually important, so I don't mind her being the main character, and it actually works for the introduction and the mystique of the and the build up to the Turtles and Shredder appearing. William Fichtner being Shredder. This is another thing I love. I love how they listened to the fans and got Shredder back something similar to what the source material was. Where, but you know what? They actually should have done it their way. William Fichtner, that would have worked. He could have been the Shredder. It almost seemed like he was supposed to be the Shredder, but they changed it at the last moment. I love them for changing it at the last moment. But they could have had William Fichtner as a Shredder. It would have made more sense. And they also could have had the Turtles as aliens. That would have made more sense and probably would have been well received had they been aliens from outer space instead of Turtles being injected with mutagen. Turtles and a rat being injected with mutagen. But I love how they got it back to the original. They saw the fans didn't like those changes, so they got it back to the original. And I commend Michael Bay, and I keep forgetting the other guy who was directing this film. The other guy who was the actual guy directing this film. Michael Bay stayed on as producer. The other guy, I commend them for getting it back to what it was supposed to be, listening to the fans and getting it back somewhat what it's supposed to be. The new origin with the Turtles being April O'Neil's pets. I thought that was a great reimagining of the Turtles franchises. They always change things. They always change things when they get to when they get to films. They never make it like the old stuff because then people will criticize them for being unoriginal. So they always change stuff, and I think this origin right here was the best origin the Turtles ever had. I think this is the best and most realistic version of the Ninja Turtles. Um, Action sequences. Action sequences. I had a problem with CGI after seeing what you could do with the puppet suits back in the 90s. CGI is better. Yes, just like in the video games. In the video games, getting normal humans, getting normal humans in the black gear, in the black suits, in the black suits, and CGIing the turtle imagery, the turtle imagery over them, and having them fight is much better than putting normal human characters in costumes that you can't even move in. Can't even move in. So yeah, the fight scenes were awesome. I also love, speaking of the fighting, I also love how in this film they made it like Street Fighter. The Turtles have their own fighting styles. Leonardo is the leader and is the most disciplined of the two, so he's like a samurai. He's like a samurai. He's like a samurai and the most pro and probably the best fighter of the group. Donatello, he's supposed to be something of a pushover, a cowardly. So you see him using the stick. You see him using the stick. You see him utilizing the stick because he's not man enough to handle the other weapons. He's not badass like Raphael and the other ones. So you see him using the staff, Michelangelo's the cocky show off. He's like a DJ from Street Fighter, combining dance moves with martial arts and nimchucks. Then you got Raphael, who is good with the katanas, but unlike the old films where they all had the same styles, because of his recklessness and attitude, he's the Street Fighter wrestler of the group, just going around knocking people over, and Splinter is like the best martial artist of the two, and the ninjutsu master. So yes, I love how they all had their own different styles, and Shredder was pretty much all of that. He could do it all, and he owned all of the turtles. So yeah, like I said, I love the fighting and martial arts in this film, even though there wasn't a lot of it. Um, voice acting, voice acting was great. The voice acting was great. The humor was good. I love the chemistry between the turtles, Megan Fox, and Will Arnett, and I love the chemistry between Will Arnett and Megan Fox, which was good because, like I said, the turtles they weren't in this film. They weren't in this film a lot. They weren't in this film a lot. So most of the time it was Megan Fox and Will Arnett, and I love Megan Fox's characters. I love her story. Will Arnett, I love the chemistry and the comedy between the two. Um, like I said, the CGI of the turtles and the character designs were awesome. I love the scenes with the turtles. All the scenes with the turtles were awesome. The scene in the beginning. So yeah, this was part one. I'm gonna continue with part two in a minute. All right. Doug out.